What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Barushmo, just in case you did not know. So we're back with a very special 2021 NFL mock draft. And this one, it's a two-rounder. And I'm going to explore the idea, what if Mac Jones really is San Francisco's pick? What if this isn't bait? What if this isn't rumors or a smokescreen? What if Mac Jones is in fact the third overall pick? How will this draft fall? And a lot of this is more predictive on my part. There's going to be some guys in this draft, in this mock, that I'm not necessarily that high on, but some names that are really starting to pick up some heat down the stretch here that could go in the first two rounds. But go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave that thumbs up if you enjoy the content, or if you at least enjoy the effort. And well, let me know what you think. Indulge in that nice, beautiful football discourse in the comment section. We will be having a watch along for the draft. Be there for that. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna have some other draft personalities calling in, and it's just gonna be a load of fun, man. It was fun last year, and we're doing it again. Let's go ahead. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's start with, first two picks, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson. I don't think we really need to go much into that. And we already know that I have Mac Jones here listed at number 3. So then what happens? Is there a trade at 4? Yes, there is. I got the Broncos. Now it really depends, man, because everyone say, like, everywhere I've went to look, it says Atlanta, they're asking too much for that number 4 spot. I mean, they look at the team ahead of them, San Fran. They gave up 3 first-rounders and a third-rounder in 2022. So they're like, hey, let us get in on some of that draft capital. I think they're going to have to settle, and the Broncos are the best team. They're in the best position. They're sitting there picking at 9. They can offer 2 first-rounders. And I think maybe they could get away with offering 2 first-rounders and maybe a third this year. I ended up doing a second, so Atlanta ended up getting the Broncos' second-round pick. But if you're the Broncos, you really feel like you're a quarterback away. It's not Drew Lock. I'm sorry, Drew Lock truthers out there. He ain't it. I feel they get Justin Fields. He is, in my opinion, ready from day one. He is good to go. Trey Lance, not so much. I feel like with Trey Lance, it's more beneficial to sit him right off the bat. And I don't think you're going to see that much of a difference between him and Drew Lock as your starter. With Justin Fields, I think he's ready to operate this offense. I think this team's ready to compete. This is a very good squad they have there in Denver. And then at 5, I continually have Jamar Chase here. Joe Burrow's campaigning for him. I have a bit of a conspiracy theory, I guess, when it comes to this pick and then where they go in the second round. But we'll get to that when we get to that. But I got Jamar Chase. And then the Dolphins, they go Kyle Pitts. He makes it here. Kyle Pitts, quite frankly, he could go at 5 as well. Maybe if Atlanta doesn't trade their pick, they take Kyle Pitts. But the Dolphins, they make out like a bandit. Some of y'all like Penei Sewell, but I get it. I like him too, but I'm going to go with Pitts, man. He's one of those unicorns we talk about at the position. Not much risk with him. He's a weapon, man. You could slide him in the slot. Can you imagine Devontae Parker, Will Fuller on the outside, and then you got to worry about Kyle Pitts in at the slot with Mike Gesicki there at tight end? Oh, scary. By the way, lot of videos happening on the channel. We're down the home stretch towards the draft. Some names are starting to catch fire. Some, they're starting to fade. And we're going to go over those in a few videos, as well as some of the unicorns, because I think it's very interesting. By unicorn, I mean these guys with unique skill sets that more so are the exceptions at their position, might not necessarily be the standard. So there might be a little bit of risk when it comes to them as a prospect. And then at 7, you would think there'd be a trade here, but I couldn't make one happen with the team I think will be traded up to get the final quarterback, Trey Lance, off the board. I couldn't work one with Detroit, or at least couldn't find one that I could agree on. So I ended up if they're going to stay put here, this is the first pick of the Dan Campbell era. Make it one that counts. Make it it's a safe one, yes. Penei Sewell, he's going to be amazing from the get. So they grab a tackle. Can you imagine that, man? You got Taylor Decker there too. Oh, man, you're going to be able to keep Jared Goff upright. Oh, man. So I did manage to find a trade, though, here at 8. There are rumors the Panthers are open to moving down. You might be like, oh, they need to protect Sam Darnold. They need to get him protection. I agree. But if you can acquire picks, man, that's more opportunity to be able to really address that offensive line. So I had them trading down with the Patriots. Mainly why I couldn't work a deal with the Lions with the Patriots. I know Bill Belichick, they don't like to trade up. They don't do that. More so, they're more of a trade down team. But I think if they can get by without having to offer a first round pick in next year's draft, then it's a-okay. It's fine. I still managed to get the Panthers good value, but I think in no way, no how do the Patriots offer a first rounder both this year and next year. So the Patriots, they gave up some picks. And the way how aggressive they were this offseason, this is a team that it's just a quarterback away. You're going to rely on Cam Newton, who had more interceptions than touchdowns last year. Hey, man, he might come back and look good, but let's grab Trey Lance, man. Let's grab Trey Lance. You grabbed receivers that actually complement Trey Lance quite well. So we went with Lance. I really think the Patriots could be in the quarterback market here. It just makes sense after the offseason they had. All right, and then at 9, this is the Falcons. They go Patrick Surtain. It's kind of the best value on the board. They grab Surtain, pair him up with A.J. Terrell, man. Oh, solid. This makes the Cowboys' decision a little harder, but not much. I'm going to go with the wise words of Richard Sherman, and I'm going to trust his take on Dan Quinn, man. If Dan Quinn can't fit Horn, hey, this guy's better at man. We'll make sure he's in man coverage situations. I'm going to trust that. I'm going to trust Richard Sherman because I really think Horn is significantly worse when asked to drop in zone. I'm totally cool if Quinn can make it work. Corner kind of feels like it should be the pick here anyway, so we did that. On to the New York Giants. I went with Rashawn Slater. This one's kind of tough. I would love to trade down, and this could be another trade down spot for the Patriots. But you gotta imagine, man, the minute it gets to that 10th pick or 9th pick, you gotta think that teams like Washington, like Chicago, are sitting there like, we're kind of interested to trade up. So that's why I feel like 11 was kind of off the board here in terms of a trade. We could go Micah Parsons. I went with Rashawn Slater because of the potential versatility, him potentially projecting to guard. You could go, he could start immediately there at right guard. You got Nick Gates at center. You got a healthy Will Hernandez, and then you got Pert and Andrew Thomas there at tackle. I think this does help Danny Dimes. You could go receiver. I think there is a good chance the receivers, at least when it comes to Waddle and Smith, they may fall. Because remember, we saw guys like Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb fall to 16 and 17 last year. And I think there's more. There should be more concern, especially when it comes to Devontae Smith coming in as medical his medical evaluation, weighing 166. That is concerning. Does it mean I don't think he will translate? Does it mean I think he'll be a bust? No, it just means there's more risk involved. Rashawn Slater kind of feels more of a sure thing. But at 12, I was like, screw it, man. I'll take me Devontae Smith. He does what Jalen Hurts likes. He's good. He's a great route runner. He's great in the intermediate. He's great downfield. I'll take that if I'm the Eagles. Let's give Jalen Hurts an honest try, a good chance this does that. And then we're going to go to 13 where, Christian Darrisaw. I feel like this has to be the pick. I think the Chargers are going to settle with whoever falls here between the top 3 tackles. If they're not on the board, it gets a little dicey. Maybe Horn, potentially. I think it gets dicey if none of those guys are on the board. But Darrisaw, here he is. I think he's pro ready from day one. We're going with him. And then at 14, I went with Elijah Vera Tucker to the Vikings. I would love if one of the tackles were to fall. They don't. For me, this is way higher than I'm willing to take Elijah Vera Tucker. But I was talking with Alex from the Hail Mary podcast, and he was like, the NFL, they're extremely high on Elijah Vera Tucker. So this is me projecting him much earlier than I'd be willing to take him. But he comes in, potentially he plays left tackle. Maybe he plays left guard. They move Ezra Cleveland to left tackle. There's a lot of things they could do there. A lot of things. And then at 15, we got the Panthers going Jalen Waddle. And you may be like, what the heck? Why aren't they taking a tackle? Well, keep in mind, they have two second round picks now. It's a deep tackle class. Let's address it there. Let's go ahead. I mean, a lot of the offensive line talent just went off the board. Jalen Waddle, man. He can fill in for what they had in Curtis Samuel last year. I'm sure Joe Brady would love a weapon like Waddle. So, hey, this is a great value pick. Sam Darnold, you get all the weapons in the world. Oh my gosh, you have the weapons, Sam. Just don't be throwing them ghosts no more. Sorry, I had to do it. It's just a joke. Arizona Cardinals, they go Micah Parsons. This could very well, depending on how the NFL feels about Parsons and the potential maturity issues, this could be maybe a spot we see Greg Newsome go, because the Cardinals, they need some help at corner. Unfortunately for me, I think that's a bit early for Newsome. Maybe they trade back. They acquire some picks. Keep in mind, they only have their first and second. They're missing their third and fourth. So maybe they go in a different direction. They trade down, get a corner in the first round, whether it's a Newsome, maybe a Farley. But I went with Parsons. He is the best player on the board. He's an instant upgrade from Jordan Hicks. Hicks is average at best. Parsons is not. So Parsons lining up in the middle there. I love it. And then at 17, I got the Raiders going Tevin Jenkins. He's another name that's been a hot riser. I think you can make a case that this is a little earlier than you take Jenkins, but after the mass exodus that the offensive line, that the Raiders had with their offensive line, I think it does need addressing. So Jenkins immediately come in, play right tackle, plug and play. And then 18, this is another one I took from Alex and Alex from the Hail Mary podcast. He really likes Kwity Paye as a instant replacement for Shaq Lawson. Keep in mind, the Dolphins, they lost their top 2 of 3. They lost 2 of their top 3 best pass rushers this offseason. So they grabbed Kwity Paye to take that Shaq Lawson role. He tested insanely. This guy has Pro Bowl potential. He's very traitsy. So they grab him here to help address the pass rush. And then at 19, this is Washington. I can't help but think this, if JOK's here, I can't see Washington going elsewhere. Maybe you make a case for a receiver, maybe Kadarius Toney or Rashad Bateman. I'm really high on Bateman. I don't know if the NFL is so much, and we'll get to that a bit later in the draft. But I like what JOK could do. He could line up in the slot. Yes, he's not necessarily the guy you like in the middle. They got John Bostic there. He's okay. But yeah, I really like projecting JOK to this pick though. And then the Bears, they go Greg Newsome. They gave away Kyle Fuller, so they grab an immediate replacement. I think Newsome, he is definitely, I think he's kind of solidified himself as one of the top 3 corners in this class, or at least one of the top 3 corners that will be taken in the first round. Caleb Farley with the back issues, that's kind of concerning to me. It's worrisome. It's troublesome. You kind of worry about the longevity with that. I think we're going to see a real fall from him. But how far? Well, maybe not too far, because I got the Saints trading up and taking Caleb Farley. I think the minute they see Greg Newsome come off the board, I think the Colts, they're going to be like, well, Chris trade down Ballard is going to trade down, and I think the Saints are a prime candidate to make a move. Loomis, he loves going up and getting his guy. In this case, I think they give up a 3rd rounder. We'll get to the trades at the end, so if you want to know specifically what I gave away, we'll go over that at the end. But Loomis goes up, gets his guy. Lattimore, he might be suspended. They have no one at corner. They need someone at least for a majority of the year across from Lattimore. And Farley is probably the only other first round corner I conceivably can see. And then the Titans, I got them going Kadarius Toney. I would have actually rathered Elijah Moore at this pick. If I had to pick a receiver, maybe even Rashad Bateman, actually. But Kadarius Toney right now, buzz around the NFL that he is going to be picked in the top 20, potentially top 15. That's how high, at least from what I'm seeing, could be big smoke screens. Again, these are rumors. Take them with a grain of salt. Grain of salt. I don't know why I'm doing it like that. But Kadarius Toney, man, what he can do with the ball in his hands is unreal. The guy has just got crazy balance. He's tough after the catch. I think he's going to be an immediate weapon underneath. Line him up in the slot. So if the NFL's high on Kadarius Toney, it's pretty hard to project where he may go. But I think the Titans could be a likely landing spot if this is really the case. And then at 23, the Jets, they go Jalen Phillips. I mean, with a lot of the offensive line talent kind of off the board, the top stuff, I think they just go with an edge rusher, someone to pair up with Carl Lawson, because who do they have now? Oh, yeah, that's right. No one. So they grab some pass rush. Jalen Phillips, he has top 15 potential. You worry about the concussions, but I really do see him going to the first round. I see him potentially going to the top 20 picks. He goes here at 23. And then at 24, we got the Steelers. Najee Harris. If you're not new to the channel, you know I would never do this. You know this is a prediction. This is a projection. This is something I would never do. You might be like, well, they're really missing their run game. Then improve the offensive line. That's what helps the running game. And then at 25, we have... I'm so passive-aggressive when it comes to that. At 25... Trevon Merrick, I think Merrick will go in the first round. We're going to see one safety in the first round. And this just feels like a likely landing spot. They went out, they overpaid, in my opinion, for Rashawn Jenkins. He's really just a box guy. Merrick at least can play deep. So we grab him here. And then at 26, the Browns get Christian Barmore. This is a very popular projection, a popular mock for a lot of people right now. Barmore, I think he's going to go a lot higher than we think, and that's apparently rumor is he will. I'm higher than this. He's like 15 or 16 on my board. He's easily the best interior player in this class. But the Browns, after releasing Sheldon Richardson, they could probably grab Barmore here, add him to that rotation. So that's what happens. I can't see him falling. Like, if Barmore has a big fall, some team's really going to get great value. And then at 27, we got Baltimore Ravens. They go Elijah Moore. They go with the speedy slot. Potentially could play on the outside. Because keep in mind, man, they got Devin Duvernay. He's more of a slot. They also liked putting Hollywood Brown in the slot at times during last year. So they grab Moore, who can do a little bit of both. I really think he can play on the outside. I think he will go in the first round. But the Ravens, you got two first-round picks. Currently, I don't see a tackle on the board that's a good scheme fit. So I went with the receiver. You could go edge. I mean, and someone brought this up to me. They haven't gone edge since Terrell Suggs, so maybe they don't. They like those guys maybe in the later in the draft. They like those guys that they could just kind of develop. I mean, we've seen it with like guys like Zadarius Smith and Matt Judon. So maybe that happens. So I went Elijah Moore here. And then at 28, Colts, they get Samuel Cosmi. Again, Alex brought this up to me, and it was someone that actually brought this up to him, that the Colts, they have not drafted anyone with anything below a 9 RAS score. Samuel Cosmi had a 9.9. He's a good fit. They want to reestablish that line. They kind of lost the anchor there, being in Anthony Costanzo. They grabbed Samuel Cosmi. To me, Samuel Cosmi is a first-round talent. And I kind of like this. Trade down and still getting your guy, Chris Ballard, man. And then the Green Bay Packers, Jamin Davis. I believe Jamin Davis will go in the first round. After that pro day, it's hard to believe any NFL team will pass on him in the first round, especially late here. They love running subsets. So your middle linebacker, he better be long. He better be fast. He better be able to cover area. He better be able to stop the run. Jamin Davis proved last year he can do that. I would have liked a better, or at least a bigger sample size, but you got a guy with the traits there. And I really think same thing happened with Tremaine Edmonds. And you saw the leap he took into what, the top 20? I won't be surprised if that happened with Jamar Davis. And then at 30, the Bills, they go Jason Owe. They get some speed on that outside. Jerry Hughes, he's literally a vet's vet. At this point, he's probably not likely to be on the roster in the next, year or two. Mario Addison, I don't see that happening either. AJ Epinesa, he was good in the rotation, but he really brings more of a power element. They get the speed on the other side. Plus, he proved he was a quality run stopper. The Bills should be all over a guy like Owe, especially if he falls this far. And then we got the Baltimore Ravens, Landon Dickerson. I'm telling you, Landon Dickerson's going to end up being a first-round pick. I got him in the second round, but a guy like this, NFL teams just love. They drool over. The Ravens, the bread and butter to that offense is the offensive line. They love the run game. Landon Dickerson instantly comes in. He's an improvement at center. That's why I got him here. And then at 32, Elijah Moulding. This might be a head-scratcher for some. I think for sure he's he's probably a top slot corner in this class. And actually, a lot of NFL teams apparently regard him as such. He has that potential to play deep too. The Bucs, this is kind of a luxury pick. You might be luxury, then why not run it back? Because they brought back Fournette. They have Keyshawn Vaughn. They brought in Giovanni Bernard. They're fine. They don't need any more running backs. They still have Ronald Jones too. So Elijah Moore, he brings in, he could compete in the slot with Sean Murphy, but in there, there's no problem with competition. There's no problem with talent, especially when it comes to corner. And if he has the potential to play in the back end, I love that. He could sneak into the first round. And this is the last pick of the first round anyway. So let's go to the second round. I got Terence Marshall going to the Jags here, and he could see a bigger fall. Apparently, during his medical evaluation, a lot of teams are kind of scared off by injury concerns when it comes to Marshall. But he's big, he's fast, he'd be great with Trevor Lawrence. I know you kind of got that in DJ Chark as well, but I really think they might address receiver in the first two rounds, especially with how good this class is. And then we got Eric Stokes going to the Jets. Eric Stokes has been a hot riser, especially named recently. I got him more in the middle to late second round. As I'm starting to come around to him a bit more, but it sounds like the NFL is more high on him than probably me. He could go in the first. This could be a guy. Him and Fatu Melifonwu, I think, are going to go a lot earlier than I anticipate. So the Jets, they grab Stokes here. They need help at corner. They get it here. And then at 35, Travis Etienne going to the Falcons. They could go a variety of different spots, but I think Etienne, he's such a good fit here, and he's a good just yin and yang. Like, he's a good complement to Mike Davis. So they just grab some more weapons for that offense. I like that there. I think they're going to make an emphasis on really trying to improve the run game. They may even hit up offensive line a few times in this draft. You may look at Atlanta and say, hey, this should be a defensive draft. I don't disagree, but it might not go that way. And then I got the Dolphins getting Xavier Collins. He's kind of a good fit, like Kyle Van Noy in this offense, and I really like that. It sounds like a lot of teams are high on Xavier Collins. He could go first round. You could say that about a lot of these guys. I mean, we're hearing so much hype right now. Like Peter Werner just got some first round hype recently from Jim Nagy. So we'll see. Apparently everyone's a first rounder. And then at 37, the Eagles, they kind of have to go corner. Asante Samuel Jr. is a tough guy to project at this point, just because does he end up only being a slot because of, 30-inch arms? Maybe, but the Eagles, they need help in the secondary. They grab Asante Samuel Jr. I'd be willing to take a first-round shot on him, but that's just me. And then at 38, the Bengals go Walker Little. This is my conspiracy theory coming full circle. If you're not new to the channel, you kind of already know this. If Joe Burrow, he's campaigning. He's like, hey, we went out, we got Riley Reef. The offensive line's fine. We also got Quinn in Spain. We made additions. Go ahead, get my boy Jamar Chase. While in the second round, maybe they go a guy like Walker Little, who could realistically fall, maybe even to the third round. But Paul Alexander, that's the guy who is currently training him. He is considered an offensive line whisperer. He's highly regarded around the league as such. He's been praising Little for like the last 2 months, and Little came in, looked great. I think he tested in the 70th percentile or higher in all the explosive and agility drills. A lot of teams are going to think, yeah, he can stick to tackle. That was kind of my concern with him a year ago. And I'm making this connection because Paul Alexander, he was like the offensive line coach for the Bengals for like 2 decades. So I'm connecting dots here. Again, this is more predictive. So let me make my predictions. Again, this could be just conspiracy theory. And then the Panthers, they go Dylan Reden. Another guy I can see going to the first round. So they get protection. I see a lot of David Bakhtiari in Dylan Reden. I think he could be a phenomenal pass blocker. So they get him to shore up the left side. Well, at least the left tackle spot. And then at 40, we got Azeez Ojulari. He falls in this. This is wild. Again, when you're doing predictive, a lot of the guys that you like end up falling. That's what happened with Ojulari. He's a first rounder to me. I definitely see him going to the first round. So it's just kind of wild that he fell here. I think if you're the Falcons, yeah, we're going to take him. Dante Fowler, he's not he's not an elite pass rusher. They go ahead, they get their elite pass rusher to complement Dante Fowler here and Azeez Ojulari. Can you imagine, though, that defense? Patrick Surtain on the outside. You get Ojulari in the second round, and you still manage to add Etienne. Yeah, Falcons, if you get in trade offers for that number 4 overall pick, listen. And then at 41, Rashad Bateman finally goes. Rashad Bateman's my 4th receiver in this class. It just doesn't sound like the NFL's high on him. He still might go maybe late first, but he ends up falling in here. And Detroit, they're like, we'll snatch that. That's pretty good for our offense of the future. Beautiful thing about Bateman, he can line up in the slot. You could start him right away. So you get 2 day 1 starters, Lions. Good on ya. And then 42, the Giants, they go Gregory Rousseau. This is another prediction on my part. Just because I think Joe Judge would love to work with a guy like Gregory Rousseau with his freaky type of frame and length. He didn't test well. He's going to fall out of the first round. At least I think he is. So I think the fall doesn't last too long, though, in day 2. And then here at 43, Fatu Melifonwu going to the Niners. I think he could potentially be a good fit. I think a good comp for him is like a Xavier Rhodes. He is freaky athletic. He's got the size to play press. It's just we didn't see a lot of press there at Syracuse. He looked good and physical, though, there at the Senior Bowl. They need to address the corner position, so they address it here. They need to at least get some depth. They got a lot of guys on 1-year deals. And then at 44, Dallas Cowboys, Richie Grant. I think they can improve they need to improve the secondary in general. They got J.C. Horn. They get Grant, a guy that can play in the slot. He can play in the box, and he can play deep. He can do whatever they need him to do, so here he is. And then Jacksonville, they go Jackson Carman. I've been kind of liking this just because Carman, he was Lawrence's blindside protector. He was literally the one constant in a offensive line that was very lackluster last year for Clemson. So maybe they repair him up. I don't got faith in Cam Robinson. So maybe they take a shot in the second round here. All right, 46. What do we got? Panthers go Payton Turner. Yes, this is one I liked about. I talked about this when I was doing the Hail Mary podcast when we did our 2-round mock draft. Dude, Matt Rule was so intrigued, and he got real personal with Payton Turner there at the Senior Bowl. Like every time I would look and they were on screen together, Matt Rule was in his ear, coaching him up. So I think he's a good fit, man. I think as a guy early downs, he plays on the outside, and then on passing downs, he flips to the interior there with Derek Brown. Because, I mean, Bravion Roy, I think maybe he's just an early down guy. I know they brought in Daquan Jones as well, but he's more of a depth piece at this point. So, yeah, I like the idea of Payton Turner. This is just, again, me kind of projecting, me kind of predicting. And then The Chargers go Carlos Basham Jr. Jerry Tillery hasn't really worked out. They might be a little optimistic about him on the edge, but it's a new coaching staff. I think if they can improve the position and get great value, they're gonna do that. Carlos Basham actually provides that. I think he is an instant upgrade over Jerry Tillery. Unfortunately, Jerry Tillery was a guy I was pretty high on. Oakland Raiders, Nick Bolton. Raiders fans, you know this can happen. This is a Mike Mayock guy. You know this can happen. This is me projecting. And then we're going to go to the Cardinals. De'Ami Brown. I really think that they're going to try to improve the vertical game. I really, really do believe that. I think Andy Isabella, it just didn't work out last year. They're going to grab a guy who has probably one of the best vertical route trees in this class. They could go with the Javonte Williams. They just brought in James Conner. I know it's a one-year deal, but I think they're going to try to look for someone that could stretch the field and make it easier on those backs. Corner would have been nice, but let me tell you, there wasn't corners available. Like I said, if Fatu Melifanu and Eric Stokes, they went a lot higher than I anticipate, so we were kind of crapped out of luck. I would have loved to, but it just couldn't happen. Dolphins, they go Javonte Williams, though. You might be like, oh, you're just trying to get Javonte Williams for your Dolphins. Nah, if you know me, you know I don't want to go running back. Running back's one of the last things I want to do for the Dolphins. I want to get value at every pick, but I could definitely see them bringing in one of the top 3 backs in this class. And I really think all 3 of them end up top 50 picks. Well, Dolphins, they're at 50. They're kind of the cutoff, so Williams goes here. And then at 51, Washington goes Alex Leatherwood. Rumor is the NFL's actually pretty high on Leatherwood. He could sneak back into the first round talks. I think he maybe goes in the first half of the second round. He can play guard right off the bat. Not that they really need it. More so, he can play there on the outside. I think they're going to give him a shot there at one of the tackle spots. If not early, then maybe later if things with Christian doesn't go well. Maybe Morgan Moses. Keep in mind, Morgan Moses was coming off a bad year, and then last year happened. It was a return to form, but you never know when the drop-off hits, so maybe we see another drop-off. And then Chicago Bears, Davis Mills. I see one quarterback going day 2, and it's really probably either, like, you could say Kellen Mond, you could say Kyle Trask. I went with Davis Mills, man. A lot of the NFL seems high on this guy that has only 10 starts because guess what? Prototypical size and arm strength. It's something the NFL loved just a couple of years ago. And you know what? He kind of fits what the Bears at least seem like they want at quarterback. Andy Dalton, yeah, he's your team this year, but Davis Mills probably be the future there. And then Tennessee Titans go Spencer Brown. I am not advocating for this. I have Spencer Brown as like a 4th rounder. But rumor is NFL, they're real hot on Spencer Brown. They love his athletic upside. They love the physical just profile. What I don't like is he's literally extremely raw, and he struggled against Division II talent. Maybe the NFL they're like, whatever. Titans, they need an upgrade at right tackle. Kendall Lamb ain't your right tackle. Or at least he better not be. So they could go Spencer Brown. So this is me just kind of maybe predicting Spencer Brown goes a lot earlier than we expect. And then 30 or 54, Joe Tryon to the Colts. I mean, they went with Samuel Cosme. They were able to pick up an extra 3rd. So yeah, why not go Joe Tryon? They love guys that are super athletic. He's a pretty good athlete in his own right. What I really love about him though is he is a phenomenal bull rusher. He's one of the strongest edges in this class. So they grab him. They grab Cosme. I think that's actually a pretty darn good class for the Colts. Steelers take Creed Humphrey. They need help at center. What is Finney their current starter? They grab Humphrey. I personally think Humphrey. I think he's a guard in the NFL, but so I think some team's going to take a shot on him to be center. He had a RAS score of 9.8 or something, 9.8, 9.7. So he kind of fits what the Steelers like. And then the Seahawks go Joseph Asai. This is more so in reaction to Alden Smith getting arrested. So they bring a guy with that's a stupid good athlete, but that could probably fill in a similar role. And then the Rams go Quentin Myers. Quentin Myers is going in the second round. I really believe that. And the Rams, they need help on the interior. Quentin Myers, well, he played guard and he was learned center on the fly at the Senior Bowl and looked pretty darn good. So he could probably plug and play anywhere on that interior for the Rams, because they are in a Super Bowl window. And then I got the Chiefs with their first round or second round pick going Rondale Moore, man. I can't see Rondale Moore falling any further. And can you just imagine this offense with Rondale Moore? Freaky. I would expect them to go with maybe someone more like a Terence Marshall, but he's not available here. You can even make a case for De'Ami Brown. But, yeah, I ended up going one more. Man. The value was there. He fell. Cleveland Browns go Gabrielle Cox. They have to address linebacker at some point. Yeah, they don't value the linebacker position. Yeah, well, at some point when you have depth as bad as like Cleveland does at linebacker, you're going to address it. Gabrielle Cox is phenomenal, by the way. And then New Orleans Saints go Liam McNeil. I'm much higher on Liam McNeil than this. He could realistically go in the third round if the NFL is not that high on him. I love him at this spot. The Saints, they don't have a lot of depth there on the interior, so they grab McNeil here. And then at 61, the Bills, they go Wyatt Davis. Wyatt Davis ended up falling this far. I think he's a good fit. Immediately can come in, plug and play, right guard. Cody Ford, it ain't work out. I'm sorry, bud. You're a depth piece at this point. And then 62, Packers go Liam Eichenberg. Apparently the NFL is much higher on him. Maybe they see him more as a guard. That's what I was hearing. And then, again, I learned a lot. Alex from the Hail Mary podcast, man, he's got a lot of inside scoops. So this is me kind of taking some of the knowledge he bestowed upon me. So realistically, the Packers could use some help on the offensive line, at least early with David Bakhtiari being hurt, probably not going to be ready to start the season. So Liam Eichenberg gives them some options. And then at 63, the Chiefs go, you're going to love this, Jamar Johnson. I would have loved to go edge here, but there wasn't an edge I liked. And Jamar Johnson, I don't know if the NFL is going to be as high at him as I am. And even this is a bit, I think he's closer to maybe to you know what? No, end of the second round is about where I have him. And this is the idea. Daniel Sorensen sucks. I know, fan favorite. He made the play in Cleveland that really should have been a touchdown for Cleveland, but Jamar Johnson gives them a lot more options. You could hang him deep. You have Juan Thornhill play more of the Sorensen role, while Honey Badger, you just work them like you do around the line of scrimmage. So this was more so a guess. There wasn't a lot of people on the board here that I was like that I thought the Chiefs could go with. So I thought it was a good fit. Milton Williams, man, he's getting a lot of hype too, man. It was mainly so after that pro day because it was one of the best defensive tackle pro days ever, man. A lot of upside to this guy. He come in immediately, be a upgrade from Will Golston. Maybe put on some more weight, eventually move over to the Sue role. Doesn't necessarily have to, but I got Milton Williams here, and that's it. Let's go ahead and actually look at the trades here that I had. I'm going to actually make the screen a bit smaller. So this was the first round trade with the Broncos. Like I said, I tried to offer a third. It wouldn't let it go through, so I was like, all right, screw it. Let's do a second. Literally when they have some good depth there for the Broncos, especially on defense. If your team feels a quarterback away, go get your quarterback, boo-boo. So I did. And I think it really worked out for the Falcons because they get now 2 first-rounders next year. They get literally the 2 most important positions on defense: coverage, pass rush. And I mean, the value of Ojulari, who, if you're not new to the channel, I love him. He's my second edge. I love that. So yeah, this is great value, and they got ETN, so kind of wild. As for the Patriots, I had to give up a second rounder, and it didn't feel great, and a fourth rounder to move up. Keep in mind, they moved up 7 picks into the top 10. but I was able to get a 5th rounder back. I mean, when you're the Patriots, you spent so much in the off season, just spending. You really don't need the draft, but you need quarterback, or at least you want a contingency plan if things go south with Cam. So yeah, for the Panthers, we made it work. We were able to get, Jalen Waddle, Payton Turner, and we also had Dylan Reden's with our original 2nd round pick. So yeah, if you're the Panthers, you're feeling good, because then what are you doing? You're like, probably everyone and their mom was probably going Rashawn Slater and then Wyatt Davis. Do you think Jalen Waddle, Dylan Reden's, and Payton Turner? I think that looks a lot better than Slater and Davis. So that's my opinion. And then for the Saints pick, I just threw in the 3rd rounder. I couldn't make it work unless it was the first 3rd rounder, and I think there's like only like eight picks that separate the Saints second. Like, I think their 2nd, 3rd rounder is 106, but yeah, I mean, they pick up a 3rd to move down 7 spots. I think that's pretty quality. So, and I think they're currently, aren't the Colts missing a 3rd rounder? Colts draft picks. You would think with as many mock drafts have I done, it would be burnt into my brain by now, right? Blah, 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 blah. They have 2 firsts and 6. Okay, well, no, tell me specifically what their picks are. Yeah, they're missing a 3rd, so it's a late 3rd, but it's a 3rd nonetheless. But yeah, that's what I got, man. Y'all let me know what you think. Again, a lot of this was predictive. It wasn't based on what I would do. But yeah, that's it for the video. Go ahead and do the YouTube thing. And until next time, we will have another mock draft on the channel, or be what I would do. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.